Welcome to our deep dive today,
Oh, yeah.
where we're going to explore something really fascinating.
Cool.
The idea of forgotten senses and hidden abilities.
I like it.
We always talk about the five senses,
Right?
but what if there's more to this story? What if humans have other senses that we've just forgotten how to use?
It's a question that's been pondered for centuries.
Exactly.
And now with emerging research in
thought-
fields like neuroscience and cell biology
Right.
and even quantum physics,
Whoa,
we're starting to get some intriguing clues.
for sure. And to guide our exploration,
Yeah.
we've got a stack of fascinating books here.
Okay.
We've got The Biology of Belief.
Okay.
We've got Developing Your Sixth Sense.
Right.
We've got The Brain That Changes Itself,
Uh-huh.
The Field, and Supernormal, Science Yoga, and The Evidence for Extraordinary Psychic Abilities.
Oh, that's a lot of material.
Yeah. So are you ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's start with something that might
yeah.
surprise you.
Okay, I'm ready.
The idea that each cell in your body might have a kind of sensory awareness.
Wait.
Much like a miniature brain.
Our cells have brains.
Okay.
I'm definitely intrigued.
This is a concept explored by Bruce Lipton in The Biology of Belief.
Okay.
He explains that the cell membrane,
Yeah.
the outer layer of a cell,
Right.
acts like a brain, constantly sensing and responding to the environment.
So it's not just the nucleus that's calling the shots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lipton even highlights research showing that cells can thrive without their nucleus in the right environment.
Oh, well.
This suggests that the cell membrane plays a far more critical role
Okay.
in how cells behave than previously thought.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But how does this connect to us having forgotten senses?
Think about it this way.
Correct.
If individual cells are constantly sensing and responding to their environment,
Right.
wouldn't it make sense that our bodies as a whole
Yeah.
might have a much more sophisticated sensory system
Right.
than we realize? Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
Yeah.
It's like our bodies are a complex network of tiny intelligent sensors.
Now let's add another layer to this.
Okay.
Stuart Wilde, in his book, Developing Your Sixth Sense, argues that everyone has a sixth sense, an intuitive knowing,
Okay.
but it often lies dormant.
Okay.
He even suggests that this sixth sense has different aspects.
Really?
Intuitive, psychic, and even all-knowing.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So we're talking about more than just gut feelings here.
Right. Wilde goes beyond basic intuition
Okay.
and dives into the realm of extrasensory perception.
Okay.
He believes this sixth sense can be developed
Yeah.
through practices like paying closer attention to our existing senses,
Yeah.
visualization, and connecting with the Earth's energy.
Connecting with the Earth's energy, now that sounds intriguing.
He also introduces the concept of the subtle body,
Okay.
an energy field that extends beyond our physical body,
Right.
and chakras, which are energy centers within this subtle body.
He believes these play a role in developing our sixth sense.
So are we talking about like an aura or something?
Think of it more as a vibrational field that interacts with the world around us.
Interesting.
Wilde connects this to the idea that we're not just physical beings,
Right.
but also energetic beings.
Okay, I'm starting to see a theme emerge here.
Yeah.
This idea that there's more to us than meets the eye,
Right.
both at the cellular level and in terms of our potential senses.
And what's fascinating is that this idea of hidden potential is also supported by modern neuroscience.
Okay.
Norman Doidge, in The Brain That Changes Itself,
Yeah.
dives deep into the concept of neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity, isn't that the idea that our brains can change and adapt throughout our lives?
Exactly.
Love it.
Doidge shows how the brain can rewire itself,
Yeah.
forming new neural pathways
Right.
based on our experiences and learning.
Interesting.
He shares a remarkable story about a device called a tactile vision machine.
Okay, tactile vision machine. I'm all ears.
This machine was invented by Paul Baccarita and allowed blind people to see by converting images into vibrations felt on their backs.
Wait, blind people seeing through their backs? How is that even possible?
It's a testament to the brain's incredible adaptability.
Wow.
The brain learned to process visual information from a completely unexpected source.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what else our brains might be capable of if we knew how to tap into that potential.
Which brings us to another fascinating concept,
Okay.
the idea of a universal energy field that connects everything.
Okay, now we're getting into some cosmic territory.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
This is the central theme of Lynn McTaggart's book, The Field.
Okay.
She explores the concept of the zero-point field,
Okay.
which she describes as a vast, interconnected field of energy
Wow.
that underlies all of reality.
So we're all swimming in this sea of energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And McTaggart argues that this field might be the key to understanding phenomena like distant healing, telepathy, and even the power of intention.
Hold on. You're telling me that our thoughts and intentions can actually influence the world around us through this energy field?
That's the implication. And she presents some compelling research to support this idea.
This is also mind-boggling, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how all these ideas might be connected.
Right.
From the intelligence of individual cells to this concept of a universal energy field.
And if we take this a step further, we can explore the ancient yogic texts, which matter-of-factly describe extraordinary abilities known as siddhis.
Siddhis? Are we talking about superpowers here?
Dean Radin, in his book Supernormal, takes a scientific look at these abilities, such as clairvoyance and psychokinesis.
Wow. We've covered so much already.
I know, right?
But I'm already feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
But for now, let's pause and reflect. What's resonating with you so far?
Honestly, I'm struck by the recurring idea that we might be capable of far more than we realize, both at the cellular level and in terms of our consciousness.
Right, yeah.
Like there's this hidden potential within us waiting to be unlocked.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think?
I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
We'll pick up on that in the next part of our deep dive.
Awesome, I can't wait.
All right, see you then.
It is a fascinating concept, isn't it? And you know, one of the things that really struck me about McTaggart's work in the field was her exploration of how human intention can actually influence living systems even from a distance.
Okay, now that's where my mind starts to really bend. We're talking about thoughts having a real, measurable impact on the physical world. How does that even work?
Well, McTaggart describes experiments where people focus their thoughts on things like healing or influencing the growth of plants, and the results were pretty remarkable. In some cases, there were measurable differences between the groups that received focused intention and those that didn't.
So it's like we're sending out some kind of energetic signal that can actually affect matter.
That's one way to think about it. And it challenges the traditional scientific view that separates mind and matter. If our thoughts can have tangible effects, then the boundaries between our inner world and the external world might be much more fluid than we've been led to believe.
This is making me think about the placebo effect. We've all heard about how people can experience real healing just from believing they're receiving a treatment, even if it's a sugar pill. Could that be related to this idea of intention and the zero-point field?
It's a great question and one that researchers are exploring. If we consider Deutsch's work on neuroplasticity and how our brains are constantly being shaped by our experiences, it's not such a stretch to imagine that our beliefs and expectations might also be interacting with this energy field and influencing our physical reality.
So essentially, our thoughts and beliefs could be shaping our reality at a fundamental level. That's a pretty powerful concept.
It is, and it opens up all sorts of possibilities for understanding how we might tap into our hidden potential, but it also raises some important questions. If our thoughts have this much power, what does that mean for our responsibility? How do we learn to use this power wisely and ethically?
Those are great questions and ones that I think we need to keep in mind as we explore this topic further. But let's get practical for a moment. If we accept that these forgotten senses and hidden abilities might be real, how do we actually access them? Is this something anyone can do, or are we talking about special gifts that only a select few possess?
Well, that's where Wilde's practical advice in developing your sixth sense comes in handy. Remember how he emphasized the importance of paying attention to our existing senses, practicing visualization, and connecting with the Earth's energy?
Yes, it sounded like a mix of mindfulness techniques and energy work.
Exactly. And those practices align with many spiritual traditions that emphasize the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of cultivating a heightened awareness of our inner and outer worlds.
So it's not necessarily about developing superpowers, but more about refining our perception and expanding our awareness.
That's a great way to put it. It's about becoming more attuned to the subtle signals and energies that are always around us, but that we often miss because we're so caught up in our thoughts and distractions.
It's like we need to quiet the noise in order to hear the whispers.
Exactly. And that takes practice, discipline, and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones. But the rewards can be immense.
This brings us back to Radin's Supernormal and the concept of CDs. While some of those abilities might seem extraordinary, they're presented in yogic texts as a natural progression of deepening awareness and mastery of the mind.
Right, it's not about becoming superhuman, but rather about realizing our full human potential. And while those ancient yogic texts might seem far removed from our modern world, the research that Radin presents, particularly the studies on the Gansfeld experiment, suggests that there might be more to these abilities than meets the eye.
I'm noticing a theme here. From the intelligence of individual cells to the power of intention and the possibility of extraordinary abilities. It seems like science is catching up with ancient wisdom in some really fascinating ways.
It's a beautiful convergence, isn't it? And it makes you wonder how much we've lost touch with our innate capabilities as we've become more reliant on technology and external distractions.
I think you've hit on something crucial. In our modern world, we're constantly bombarded with information and stimulation. It's easy to get caught up in the external noise and lose sight of our inner landscape.
And if we're not paying attention, if we're not cultivating that inner awareness, we might be missing out on a whole realm of perception and potential that's right there waiting to be explored.
This is giving me so much to think about. I'm feeling inspired to start exploring some of these practices myself. But where do we even begin? So we spent the last 2 parts exploring some pretty mind-blowing ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
About forgotten senses and hidden abilities.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
It's clear there's a lot more to us than we might think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But where do we go from here?
Right, that is the big question.
How do we tap into this potential?
Exactly. How do we explore these forgotten senses?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's great to talk about it, but I'm ready to get practical.
Okay, I hear you.
What are some techniques or practices that we can actually use?
Well, one that comes up repeatedly is meditation.
Meditation.
Okay.
Not exactly a surprise there.
Right, it's kind of a classic for a reason.
But it's like the go-to for anything related to self-awareness.
It's important to remember why it's so effective, though.
Yeah, why is that?
Remember Wilde talking about quieting the mind?
Reducing that mental chatter.
Exactly. Meditation's a powerful tool for that.
Hmm.
It's like calming the storm so you can hear those subtle perceptions.
So it's about clearing the static.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So we can tune into a different frequency.
Right, and the benefits go beyond just quieting the mind.
Okay, how so?
Well, modern research shows it can actually enhance focus, reduce stress, even promote neuroplasticity.
Right, Deutsch talked about that.
Exactly. We're not just talking about relaxing, but actually changing the brain.
So we're creating a more receptive nervous system.
Yeah, potentially key for accessing these senses.
Okay, so meditation is a good starting point.
It is.
But what else can we do?
Many traditions emphasize connecting with nature.
Ah, yes. Back to nature. I like it.
Remember Wilde talking about grounding ourselves with the Earth's energy?
Yeah, connecting with that energy.
Spending time in nature can really shift our awareness.
It's like we become so disconnected.
Yeah, I agree.
Glued to our screens.
Right?
Maybe we need to reconnect to rediscover those senses.
It's not just escaping technology, though.
Okay, what is it then?
Recognizing that we are a part of nature, not separate from it.
Right.
By reconnecting, we tap into a deeper awareness.
It's like plugging back into the sword.
And it connects back to that 0-point field idea.
Okay, yeah, we're all swimming in that sea of energy.
So connecting with nature helps us harmonize with that field.
I'm with you so far.
Yeah.
We've got meditation connecting with nature. What about those cities?
Right.
Are there specific practices for developing those?
There are, and Radin offers some insights.
Okay, tell me more.
He explains that while the cities are in those texts,
Yeah.
they're not something you just get overnight.
Right, they're extraordinary abilities.
They unfold with dedicated practice.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically, the cultivation of samyama.
Samyama. That sounds intense.
It is a powerful practice.
I bet.
It's a combination of concentration, meditation, and deep absorption.
So we're talking laser focus.
Exactly. And it can lead to profound insights, even extraordinary abilities.
That takes a lot of dedication.
It does.
Any other tools or techniques?
Well, many traditions also emphasize energy work.
Like what?
Things like Qigong or Reiki.
Okay, I've heard of those.
They focus on cultivating the flow of energy.
So becoming aware of and controlling our energy.
Exactly. And again, this connects back to that interconnectedness.
The 0-point field.
Right. If everything is energy learning to work with, it could be key.
This is so fascinating.
It is pretty amazing.
But are there any risks with this?
That's an important question.
Yeah, is there a downside?
We need to approach it with caution.
Okay.
While these practices are generally safe,
Yeah.
it's crucial to approach them with respect,
Right.
discernment, and healthy skepticism.
So be mindful and don't get carried away.
Exactly. One pitfall is getting caught up in the allure of the abilities
Right. I can see that happening.
and losing sight of the core principles:
Like what?
self-awareness, compassion, service to others.
So keep our intentions in check.
Exactly.
Don't get lost in the pursuit of power.
Right. These practices are about realizing our full potential.
Not becoming superhuman.
Exactly.
So ultimately, it's about using these abilities for good.
Absolutely. For ourselves and the world around us.
Well, this has been an incredible journey.
It has been fascinating.
I'm feeling excited and a little overwhelmed.
I understand. It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
But remember, this is a lifelong exploration. There's
Okay.
no rush, no pressure.
That's good to hear.
Start with what resonates with you. Experiment, be curious, and trust your intuition.
Trust my intuition. Maybe that's one of those forgotten senses.
Perhaps it is.
By cultivating that, we open up to new possibilities.
Exactly.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise, I hope you're leaving with a sense of wonder,
Me too.
a curiosity to explore your own being.
It's been a truly fascinating exploration.
It has.
And I encourage everyone to continue the journey.
Yes.
Who knows what incredible discoveries await
For sure.
as we unlock the mysteries
Yeah.
and embrace the fullness of our human potential.
Until next time, keep exploring.